Hey guys, Ryan here with Our 3 Cents, the show for dreamers, doers, and entrepreneurs. I'm super excited to be here again with my co-host Scorpio Mosley and Bree Goldstein, in addition to today's guest, which is Emma Reichert, the owner and founder of the ER Real Estate Group, in addition to the administrator, founder, and owner of the Mayor of Oviedo Facebook page and the Mayor of Oviedo store. So she obviously wears very many hats. We're super excited to have you here today. Before we get started though, guys, how was your week? Anything crazy? Any exciting business developments? Anything?
First of all, I'm excited to have Emma here with us today. Looking forward to having you share some of your intel about some of your success and things of that nature. As far as me, this past week, had some great conversations with some folks that I've been trying to partner with for quite a while. So trying to kind of leverage some of the information that they have in the eyewear industry. So looking forward to partnering with them to do some great things in that regard.
It's awesome. Well, it's nice to see both of you. And Emma, we had a chance to talk a minute ago, so I'm really looking forward to you learning more from you and hearing about everything that you do, and especially the Oviedo store. I'm completely unfamiliar, so I'm super excited. I received notification from my illustrator that we are underway on my new children's book, which will be out by mid-October, and I'm so excited for that because I've got 2 little kids, and when my son was born, I wrote a children's book and I dedicated it to him. So now my daughter, who is going to be 2 in October, her children's book is finally going to be finished because I did one for him, so I want to do one for her, keep it even. And so I'm super excited. I have it back from the editor, final draft, heard from the illustrator, we're on target, and I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Very cool.
That was awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, since I kind of skipped you, and I apologize for that, I'm the worst host on the planet, but Emma, anything, what's going on with you? Tell us a little bit. Don't give us your whole story if we want to dive into that, but anything new this week? What's good?
New this week? No, I made it to Friday, and that's always you know.
And you are a busy woman.
It's
yes,
always a victory,
just
getting to Friday.
Very busy woman. I don't know.
It's been a good week for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as far as myself, guys, I mean, I'm on vacation, so to speak, so I'm here for a few-hour break while my family parties without me, but, good things, a lot of good things coming. I had a business deal the other day that didn't work out, unfortunately, but it was a government contract, and, it's typical. You deal with the government, you pay the price. But, on the private sector side, doing great, and making some exciting progress with a lot of different things. So super excited to have Emma here today. I mean, this is really an interview that I've been seeking for so long, because I just am a true fan, without geeking out on her, of what she does. And so today, without kind of just diving right into it, today's topic, I think what we're going to be talking about will be omnipresence in social media. Basically, the reason we've invited Emma here is she's all over the place. I mean, you're literally all over the place. I don't know how you do it. We're going to dive into that, but she is the owner of the Mayor of Oviedo store. She's got the Facebook page with over 27,000 followers. I mean, that's impressive. I think my Facebook has like 500, and that's because a few people pity followed me. So very impressive. Your credentials are awesome, and just a little story that I'd like to share real quick before we get into the interview. My first interaction with Emma. My son has a little business that he works on with the business club that I oversee, and he had a little soap company that he created. Getting into retail is obviously challenging, especially in the Amazon age we live in, yada, 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 with the buyers and all that. So Emma actually reached out. She had saw a post my wife had made on Facebook about our son doing his little thing, and she actually reached out and was his first retail store that he was in, not on a consignment. So she actually cut him his first actual check. So Emma, thank you for that. That was a huge pivotal.
Pleasure.
It might not have been much for you, but in my son's eyes, that was a pivotal moment for him. That was like I played his moment through in my head, and almost had tears. So it was a very beautiful thing you did there. So we want to talk to you today about how do you do it? How do you juggle all the hats you do, and how more than anything do you maintain that omnipresence on social media? And just make it seem like you are everywhere at every moment of every day in real life and online, and have you been able to play that in a way that's beneficial for you in the business world?
Okay. Well, first off, I've been in real estate for 23 years, so that's really where my true passion lies, and that's really what I get paid to do. But my real story, I think, began when the market tanked. And so in 2010, I found myself, I was divorced. It's okay, sounds good. I was divorced, raising 2 kids on my own, and I wasn't selling real estate because real estate wasn't selling. So I really was trying to make ends meet, and at that point I realized, okay, what am I doing wrong? I see other realtors making money. How come I'm not? And so I then had an epiphany that the reason that I wasn't making money is because I wasn't connected with people. People didn't know who I was. And because people didn't know who I was, didn't mean I was a bad realtor. It just means that I wasn't their realtor. And so I had to kind of get over that realization of, okay, I've been doing it wrong all these years. Yes, I made a living and made a great living at that, but the fact that I wasn't first in their mind when they thought of a realtor was something that I had to overcome. So I had a lot of free time because I wasn't really working, and I was on Facebook all the time. And so I was poor, on Facebook all the time, and a real estate agent. So I decided that I was going to start a group page for my community. I live in Oviedo, and I was going to start a group page. And the reason that I chose to do that is because I was constantly looking for things to do with my kids that were free or cheap, but there was no aggregate site to get that information. So I was constantly looking at different websites and then pulling that information and then posting it on my own personal Facebook page, so that me and all my friends could coordinate, all my other poor friends could coordinate and take
Where's
our
the
kids
value?
together. Right. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to start a group page so that I can add all my friends and we can all post on that one group in Facebook. That's really what started the whole thing. And so when I did that and I was posting, this was in the end of 2010, I noticed that people started to join my group. I didn't even know that other people could see what I was posting. So then other people wanted to join the group, and I thought, oh, they find value in what I'm providing.
And do you remember how many followers roughly at this point?
I only had 14 in the beginning. It was me and 14 of my friends. That was it. And so from that point, it would trickle in. It just trickle in, maybe 1 a week, and then maybe 3 a week. And then it took a year before I had like 300 people. Took a year. And again, that was not my goal wasn't to see how big I could create a group. My goal was to connect with my neighbors, my friends, and that sort of thing. And it was working. I mean, it was great. And so that is how the whole premise started. And then from there, it just has really mushroomed. By 2013, I had 2,000 people.
Okay. And this is how far into this?
A little over like 2.5, almost 3 years, I had 2,000 people.
Okay.
And at that point, I realized, wow, this is life-changing for me personally, because I felt like those people everybody was really connecting with each other, and they were connecting with me. And so I would be out and having, dinner with my kids, and people would, hey, are you Emma from the Oviedo Facebook group page? And it was surreal, really, because that was not my intention.
Right.
That was not my intention. But I did say in 2010 that I had to find a way to overcome the barrier of lack of presence in people's minds. And so once that started happening in like 2013, where people began to see me in the community and identify me, I was like, okay, now is a golden opportunity and I need to take that. And so I just kept doing what I was doing, which was providing value for free. Right. That's what I was doing, was providing value for free. And that's what people want. They want valuable information, and they don't want to pay for it. And they don't want their information poached either. They don't want to have to provide you with their email or their phone number or anything like that. It was literally they could come, they could consume the information, and they could leave without interacting, or they could interact if it was something that was important to them. So a lot of times I see people trying to create this, I guess, presence online, and it doesn't look organic. It doesn't look natural. And the reason that I think I make it look natural is because I only talk about things that are important to me. I only address things that are important to me. I only reach out and, provide value on things that are important to me. And so it looks very genuine because it is genuine.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I see Bree over there jotting away. What do you guys fire away at her? I know you guys. I see you guys are over there.
That's so interesting. So I know you're on Facebook.
Correct.
And we're connected on Twitter now.
Okay.
What other platforms are you on?
So the ones that I focus on are Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I think one of the other struggles, and I am on Snapchat, but I haven't found a way for that to engage me in order to make me want to use that particular platform. So I just haven't really focused on that yet. The other thing that I think is super important is people need to know where is your next client on? What are they on? What platform are they on? So, for instance, Snapchat I find are really people, in high school, and they're not my client. My client is somebody who is, starting a family in their mid-20s and up from there. So that's the other thing that you need to focus on. What platform are your clients on? And that's the platform you should be focusing on. One of the other things that I wanted to touch on too is I'm on all these different platforms, but I struggled with how to engage those platforms in a timely manner, because a lot of people struggle with, well, I only have so much time in the day. How am I going to do Twitter and then Instagram and then Facebook and provide unique content for all of that, right? So the other thing that's super important to do is figure out a way to aggregate those three and spread your information one time to all three sources if it's possible. And so I don't know how many of you are on if this then that. Have you ever heard of if this then that?
Yes.
Okay. So if this then that is actually an app or a website, whichever you want to use it as. And you want to explain it because you might be able to explain it better than me.
Sure. So it takes two actions. It takes one action. If the action is performed, then another action happens. So, for example, if you post on Twitter, then that gets spread to Facebook, for example. It's kind of like the switch on Instagram, where if you make a post on Instagram, and then if you click the switch next to Twitter or Facebook, it automatically sends it. It's an automation program is what it is. And you can use it for a ton more than social media, but it's a great example.
Yes, that's perfect. So you explained it way better than I would have. So the other platform that I also post on all the time is Pinterest. And so if I post on Pinterest, then through the If This Then That app, then it will post to, I believe, Twitter. I don't remember which algorithm I did. But anyway, so there's all of these tools that you can use that make it appear, you say I'm omnipresent, but it makes me appear as if I'm omnipresent when I'm actually not.
So you use a lot of automation tools, sounds like. In addition, do you have a team though? Because it sounds like, I mean, I just can't imagine, and I'm not totally, forgive my ignorance, I'm not 100% in tune with the If This Not That app, only because I'm a slacker. I'll admit I'm...
You should check it out.
Yes. There's a reason that I admire you for social media. If you look at mine, it's embarrassing how many followers I have. But I think that's really cool. I think it's awesome that you have some automation going on via the app, at least semi-automation.
Yep.
In addition to, now you did mention a little bit of a peek at a team. What is that?
Yes.
How does that? What entails that?
Okay, so the other thing that I do is that, and I feel like this is cheating, but I do it because I just don't have enough time in the day. So I also have a virtual assistant. And so my virtual assistant, and you can't see me, but I'm smiling because I feel like it's cheating, but virtual assistants are the best way to make you look like a rock star, and it's super cheap. So there are a couple of different websites, and I don't know, Bree, if you know any of them, but there are websites like Fiverr that you can access that,
TaskRabbit.
We love Fiverr.
I love Fiverr too. But so it's things like that you can go and get a virtual assistant who's either in, Indonesia, or mine happens to be in Costa Rica. And so basically what my virtual assistant does is if I find content at 3:00 in the morning when I'm scrolling Pinterest that I want to be posted on my Facebook page, I dump it into a Dropbox, and the caption for the actual photo or whatever I drop into Dropbox, the caption or the name of it is actually the caption that I want her to use. And then if I want her to post it on a particular date, I put that in the actual file name as well. So my virtual assistant doesn't even need to talk to me at all. She just accesses that one Dropbox, and then I through the name of the file, I tell her, or the name of the Dropbox file, I should say that it's in, she knows what social media platform to post it on, and what page or group or whatever in that social platform. So that's a cheating way that works. And
I don't think it's cheating at all. I mean, that's being resourceful. I think that, you're pretty much pre-planning your post.
Correct.
In a different way, using a live human being in a different continent.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's not cheating.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, where do you get your inspiration for your content?
Anything that I think would be useful to me, I believe would be useful to somebody else. And again, so I think, you have to remember, I'm a mom, and I have elderly parents. And so there are all of these different things that affect my world, just like they affect your world. So most of the people who are my age have similar circumstances. So those people will probably find value in things that I find valuable. Again, you just kind of have to think in terms of who is your client and what's valuable to them. So, events, I post a lot about events or specials that I see that they would be interested in. I do a lot of funny memes. It's really a myriad. And it's funny because I'm in real estate, but it's very rare that I promote myself. And I think people find value in that too, because it's not about me. I try never to make it about me. It's about reaching out to them and providing them value. So that's another really important thing that I see people do if they're going to be marketing, that it's always marketing about them, and you need to reach a broader audience.
That's a great point. We have an 80-20 rule where in my agency we say 80% is about anything else other than you, and 20% can be about you. And so we always said with our clients. I'd like to go back to Pinterest for a minute. One of the questions I get a lot is, how do you use Pinterest for business? And I get it both from clients, but also from my students, is how can we use Pinterest without giving away hours and hours of our life for, a bunch of things that we can go DIY at home. So I'd be really interested to hear how you use Pinterest effectively.
Okay. So,
and efficiently.
Yes.
Without giving away millions of time.
Okay, so the one thing that I have found for Pinterest is, and it's not a DIY thing, because that's a lot of people look on Pinterest for DIY or the color of the next, the next big color for their house or whatever. The number one thing that is looked at on my website is driven from a Pinterest post that I have, and it's a form that people are dying to download. Is that weird?
What kind of form is it?
Right. So I'm a real estate agent, and one of the forms I created was a form of what you should look for in new construction. And people will apparently locate it on Pinterest, and that drives them to my website because I pinned it from my website. Does that make sense? So whenever you're on a website, you can pin from a website a picture that you see. And then when it's on Pinterest, if somebody clicks on that pin on Pinterest, it drives those people to that website. So think about that in terms of you just have to reverse engineer it, really. So you make something that is going to be valuable and you put it on your website, and then you pin it from your website to Pinterest.
That's really interesting. So do you follow all the analytics to see how they...
I do.
Okay.
Oops.
No, that's
that's
It's
fine,
the nerd in me. I
Yeah.
do. That's how I know. That's the
what I was
number
thinking.
one thing that's looked at on my website, is because Google Analytics tells me what people are looking at. It's the
perfect.
yeah. So that's how I know, and that is. I've never told that story before, so that is a Pinterest win. The other thing that I do on Pinterest is I post things that are very popular with homeowners or home buyers. So again, like the number one color for interior paint this year, and I post it on my website, and then I pin it from my website to Pinterest, and it drives traffic to my website. So that's really how you should effectively be using Pinterest. I use it just as literally a highway to my website.
It's a great process.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are great tips.
Flattered you would say that, but thank you.
That's great tips. That's a
Okay.
great process.
Okay, so that's Pinterest.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Scorpio, you got any questions? I don't want to cut you off. I probably have a dozen more for you. So if you have any, please fire away. I mean, we want to get the most value of our time as we can. So.
No, I'm just kind of taking it all in. I mean, I think the content that she's offering, it's very informative as you think
Thank
about
you.
some of these things that maybe you hadn't thought about overall for myself. So, but go ahead and shoot. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, because I mean, well, a couple questions for you that come to mind, because I'm the first to admit I love business, but I'm terrible at social media. I wish, honestly, they could condense everything down to one Apple-like platform, because it would save a lot of my time and my life. But I don't think that's going to happen, at least in the short term. So, you know, it seems like you pretty much primarily, would you say Facebook is your biggest, player in the game, so to speak?
Yes, Facebook is.
Okay, and
And-
you.
mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, Facebook is. I was concerned when I put all my eggs into the Facebook basket that I was nervous that would be a short-lived train. For instance, there are so many other platforms that have come and gone. But so far they're just keeping on.
Are there any platforms that have come and gone that you used and you miss? You wish they'd stay, like a quick 6-second Vine of a new house or something?
Yeah, okay, Vine. Yeah, I loved Vine.
Mine was Periscope.
Periscope was
I love
fun.
What about Foursquare? Do you remember Foursquare?
I do.
Yeah, I
do.
liked Foursquare because I could check into like a new construction place, and then I could post pictures, and so people could find it. I liked Foursquare too for business.
Okay.
It was good. So I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
Wow.
So
Do you do any kind of paid advertising on any of the platforms?
I do. I use Facebook and Instagram only because, one, I can see the analytics, and I am all about, if it's working, keep doing it, and if it's not working, don't do it. And if you can't, by the way, if you can't get analytics on your advertising dollar, I want to reach through the microphone and maybe, I don't know, I won't do anything harmful, I'll shake you there.
Well, great question. Let me ask you this, because you brought up a very, very solid point. A lot of small business owners either don't have the technical expertise, or they're a little bit either scared or ignorant to the analytics side of things, which is obviously critical to a business success. Do you have a suggestion to
Hire
those
you?
folks? Well, you wouldn't want to hire me. I would probably hire her.
Hire Bree.
I think I would go with that realm if I was going to do that.
Hire a
but-
professional. Hire a professional. If here's the thing. If anybody understands it, I understand it. I have a store. I'm a real estate broker. I have 4 agents with me. Like, I get it. There's only so much time in the day. I'm blessed with the fact that my kids are grown. I don't have a husband. All I do is work. That's all I do. And so I have the ability to, stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning researching how to make a video and dub it and blah, blah, blah. So the thing is that if you don't, hire a professional, because time is money. And so and not only if you don't know how to do it, if you don't enjoy doing it, don't just hire somebody to do that. So there are so many companies out there that really excel at that, and they do it better than I could do it, but I just like doing it. So that's what I would say.
That makes sense.
That's
I
great.
used to do my own accounting, and I quickly learned that is not my expertise. So now I have someone for that. But Bree, I think you had something.
I did. Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of processes in place. It sounds like you've really thought about where do I want to go, and then, as you said, reverse engineered it for how am I going to get there. What do you do in your personal or your professional life that makes you successful?
I would say that I don't give up easily. Perseverance. And so in 2013, I said, that Titanic ship had turned for me on Facebook in terms of I was getting noticed. It was having an effect that I thought was going to be useful to me. And I went to a marketing class, and that's when Google Plus, do you remember? That's one of the things that I miss now. But Google Plus had started, and I went to this marketing class about how to get noticed on Google, because that was really critical at the time. And so that's when I started my website and the whole thing. Anyway, ask me the question again. Because
Sure.
I went down the rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
So I wanted to ask you, before we get into that, before we go back to the question, where did you find the marketing class? Where did you take it? What did it entail? I think that'd be really useful. And then I'd love to revisit, what do you do in your life that makes you successful personally and professionally?
Okay. So I found a marketing class through my chamber. My Chamber of Commerce. And
That's great.
So Chamber of Commerce, if you're a small business, that is the best money you can spend. It really is. And you're smiling, Bree. Why are you smiling? Because do you say that?
I love Chambers of Commerce. I'm a co-founder of a Chamber of Commerce here in Orlando. I help run it. Yeah, baby.
I love Chamber of Commerce.
I do too. I have a few friends who have won the ovations over at the Oviedo Chamber of Commerce, and they're just so great at connecting people and helping small businesses grow to become medium-sized to large, if that's their goals. Helping small businesses stay small. Because that's really a trick too.
It is.
Right?
That's what I want to do.
The chambers are an essential part of the business ecosystem.
Yes.
I love it.
Okay, so there you go. So if you're an entrepreneur, that's one of the things that I would encourage. But in terms of staying in business, perseverance, you have to, so 2013, I did this Google Plus and this Google class and blah, blah, blah. And so then I said, okay, I'm going to start a website about new construction, and I was blogging. It was a website just blogging, right? And so I blogged and blogged and blogged, and I watched the algorithms and the analytics and blah blah, and made sure that my tags were right and everything. I was on point. 5 months goes by, nothing. I didn't get any business. 5 months. 6 months, I got my first deal off of it. And so that, I was like, that lit my fire. When you get traction like that, keep going, and don't expect it to happen overnight. You got to keep going. So it's that's my one thing is just, and then if you find after, I don't know, a year it's not working, then revisit it and maybe change course or change direction.
Did you ever have any moments on social media or the other other tactics you're doing online where you're like, this isn't working, I want to quit? And then because you have this sense of perseverance that you just pushed yourself to keep going and it really paid off? Did you have any of those F it moments?
Yes, I did. And the one time I can tell you was, again, in 2013 when I ended up getting, 2,000 group members on my Oviedo Facebook group page, and people were, fighting and being mean to each other and just trolling on...
So fun.
Yeah, and that, I just, I'm not that person. I don't like that kind of behavior. And so I was talking to my friend about it and what do I do? And I'm just going to quit the Facebook group page and, I'll just let somebody else run it. And she talked me into getting admins. She talked me into getting help. And setting up guidelines and rules and all the things that aren't fun. So that's, I got help. Again, I got help. But there are plateaus that you'll feel that, okay, this is working. Now I'm going to do one more thing. And that one more thing for me was asking for help.
You got to the point where it was just too much.
Correct. And I wanted to quit, but I knew what I was doing was good and I was on the right path. So then I had to re-engage myself and say, okay, let's keep going on that path, but how can we make it more palatable for you to keep going? And that was to ask for help and set guidelines.
Emma, so you have the Facebook page, Mayor of Oviedo Facebook page, the store, and real estate. Is there anything, what's coming down the pipe for you? Is there something different outside of those lanes, or is it being better in those spaces?
That's a great question, because I am constantly, I self-evaluate a lot. What's making me happy? What's not making me happy? And where am I going to stay? What lane am I going to stay in? And so at this point, my real estate business is going phenomenally well. So I'm constantly asking myself, okay, do I want to grow? Do I want to be bigger than this? Do I want to, how am I going to hit the $5 million or whatever? And I realize that having a small boutique firm is who I am, is the core of me. I don't want to rule the world. I just want to rule Oviedo. And don't quote me on that, because people will be like, Emma wants to rule Oviedo.
I'll put it on the record. I do consider you to be the queen of Oviedo.
Thank
so,
you. Thank you.
For the record, you have my vote.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So that's me. I have really a microcosm of where I live and work and play, and that's my focus. So I really don't want to deviate from that, just because it provides me with joy and purpose, and that's the thing. I think whatever provides you with joy and purpose. And so I found that. I'm so blessed that I have found that I don't need to be bigger. But that doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't, They can kill it, and that's awesome for them.
Emma, so quick question for you. I wanted to know, when do you realize, or when did you realize that it was time to either find a mentor to kind of help you navigate the things that you were kind of dealing with, or either pull together a team that can help you kind of further your efforts?
Okay, so what I find in any business that I'm doing is when it becomes unmanageable. When it becomes unmanageable and you're miserable, that is a growing pain that you should embrace. Okay, if you're so busy you're miserable, embrace that. That is the universe nudging you to get additional help. And so you just have to be able to identify what that help is going to be. And so, whether it's a friend or an admin on a page that's doing it as a volunteer, because I have 7 admins on my Facebook group page and they volunteer. They do that for free. So it's things like that, or, getting the virtual assistant, or, it's, are you on the right path and are you miserable? That's how you know. Mm-hmm.
So if you're miserable but you're doing what you're meant to be doing,
yeah,
yes,
it's that, and you're being successful at it, but your success has come to the point where your sanity is being questioned, and your time is not your own, and all of those things that just kind of culminate into you not being happy anymore, but you're doing what you wanted to do. You've got, yeah. So then you say, okay, I need help now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's so many capacities that you can accept help and seek help. It seems it's interesting to have to identify where really that growing pain is, of help advice, help hands-on, help virtually, where that help comes from, right? Volunteer, employee, paid advisor. It's just...
Well, it's hard too, because as entrepreneurs, we naturally want to we want to wear every hat there, and so it does take a little bit to let go, and I find, even with myself, I find that difficult. So I admire that you're able to do that, and that you've been able to kind of master that skill to delegate, because that is very, very challenging for a lot of small business owners, and stuff like that. So I know we're starting to come to an end on time, but I would like to ask you real quick, because this has been a most asked question, so to speak, from the audience. What is the story behind Fred the chicken?
Okay.
And what is the story behind the shaved ice stand that I always see on Facebook? I pretty much follow you like a reality
Thank you.
TV star.
I'm sorry, did you say shaved ice?
Yes. And I believe
That
I
sounds
believe
incredible.
It's right there, not too far from your house, by her My Oviedo store, if I know correctly.
So in the Oviedo Mall.
No, it's
No, where?
So my store is in downtown Oviedo, where the Ace Hardware and the post office is. So I'm in the old Fairwinds Credit Union building, and so there was a gentleman who needed a place to park his shaved ice trailer, and so I said, sure, you can park it in my parking lot. That's not a problem, provided you can be open every once in a while. And I don't make any money off of it whatsoever, but it brings people in, and it just provides pleasure for people, because your face lit up when you heard shaved
You
ice.
sold
Shaved
all of us on
ice,
that.
yes.
I'm telling you. So
We are in summer in Florida.
shaved
Bring
ice.
on the
And
shaved
that's
ice.
brilliant. I mean, the guerrilla marketing tactic alone,
So funny.
the fact that you just switch out for a guy, hey, want to park this here? Sure. But, I mean, it's brilliant. I love it. I saw it on
Thank you.
Facebook, and I thought, oh, man, that is brilliant. Well, I mean, it's such an inexpensive yet item, but it brings joy to so many people. And stuff like that they remember, which is crazy. But, okay, so tell us about Fred.
Okay,
You gotta
Fred.
know.
So Fred is a rooster who now he lives at my store. It's the weirdest thing. So Oviedo's known for their chickens and their roosters just being feral and basically, roaming the streets. But in October of last year, 4 white chickens, or roosters, but they're chickens, 4 white roosters landed in the lawn in front of my store. And they were all huddled together, and so clearly they had been abandoned. Somebody had dropped them off there, and they didn't know what to do. They were domesticated, and so they didn't know what cars were. I mean, just the sheer look of terror on their faces, if you can imagine a rooster looking terrified. Anyway, so long story short is that one chicken met an untimely death due to car. Another one met an untimely death due to raccoon. The other Fred brother managed to make friends with the feral chickens across the street. So now he lives over across the street. And Fred never left my front yard. And he would stand at the door looking in every day. It was so funny and sad at the same time. And he would, cock-a-doodle-doo every morning. And he just was... I don't know, he wouldn't go away. And I was scared of him a little. And so finally one day I just sat down on my front stoop, and he came up next to me and he did a little dance, and he let me pet him. And I was like, oh, okay. So I worked my courage up from there, and now I would hate if something happened to him. So I bought him his own condo. And he lives outside, and he comes inside at nighttime if he wants to hang out with me while I work. And so that's my Fred story.
Wow.
Again, so it's just kind of weird. Anything that I'm passionate about, I just post it, and people gravitate towards that. I don't know if it's because it's a genuine... I personally think it's because they can see I'm genuine. I'm being genuine about what I'm talking about. And that really is... something that I can't teach anybody. Can't teach somebody. You just got to do what is natural. So that's what I do.
Neat.
That sounds great. I think that was some great feedback, some great information for the viewers out there, those running a business and those thinking about starting one, especially those in the real estate sector. Watch out, Emma's coming for you, and I think she's doing a pretty good job. Bree, did you have something to finish us off? I think you look like you may have had a question, or
I was just gonna ask if we have a minute.
Yeah,
I was
of
gonna
course.
ask what.
it's the internet. Take your time.
Woo! Let's take a break and come back. Just kidding. Do you have any advice? Any advice for our folks listening, our wonderful, beautiful, lovely audience?
Advice would be to connect with people who you see are successful in what you're trying to do, and don't reinvent the wheel. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can always mimic what you see is working for other people. Just, I guess, create your own version of what they're doing. So don't reinvent the wheel. That's just silliness. It's a lot of wasted time. Just see what other people in your field are doing and they're successful at it. Do that in your own way. That's what I would tell them to do.
Nice.
That's nice. I have a question, but I just want to say that I really appreciate your authenticity.
Oh,
You can tell that you're
thank you.
authentic, and that has played obviously a huge part in your success, and definitely something we can all duplicate. So.
Thank you. I'm really flattered that you guys asked me to come here today, because I just think I'm silly.
Well, I think that's part of the draw, honestly. Part of the reason
You're
that
being
we,
authentic.
part of the reason we picked Bree for this project as well was because we just, you guys have a similar personality in the fact
We're
that
enjoyable.
she's quite zany and like out there and
Fun.
just random stuff like firefighting and this and that, So I think that's really cool, and I think that's why people are drawn to you. But listen up, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, come see Emma at her My Oviedo store. It's right there in downtown Oviedo, which is what I call Mayberry. If you've ever seen it, you'll know why.
Totally.
But it's a beautiful little store, very, 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 very nice. Also, if you're looking for a house, she's your girl. And I know everybody and their brother's a real estate agent, but she does it on the daily.
Totally
okay?
true.
She does it on the daily. So please, see her if you have any needs for that. And
Thank
guys,
you, Ryan.
yeah, no problem. We're glad to have your time here. Emma, real quick for the audience, if you could just tell them real quick where they can find you online.
Sure. And I am a wealth of knowledge, and I am very transparent. So if you ever want to reach out to me and ask questions, I can do that. So on Twitter, I'm my_Oviedo. On Instagram, I'm myoviedo, and Emma's your agent. And so I market for two different things on that. And then on Facebook, obviously Emma Reichert, but My Oviedo Store is a page. And then My Oviedo, Florida 32765, 32766 is a group. So that's it.
Very cool. Well, Emma, thank you again for your time today. Like I said, I know you're incredibly busy. I've been seeking this interview for quite a while now. So we really want to thank you for coming out. Also, guys, real quick, I hope that everyone will tune into our show next week. Next week, we are going to be hosting Healthy Junk Food, which is a YouTube show with over 2 million followers. So we're very excited to have JP and Julia here from Healthy Junk Food. We hope you will tune in next week. Thank you.